Will you review Brouhaha and the blah blah blah?
I get requests to review movies on pretty much every outlet that Headhunter Productions has. Even in places where they're not even relevant, like our Tumblr, various posts on our DeviantArt, and pretty much everywhere outside of where you should be asking, which is our main email address. We put this thing here for a reason. But going back to your question, no, I will not review whatever movie you request that I review, even if it's something stupid like Brouhaha and the blah blah blah. Hunter Reviews is a pretty set list of movies that we need to get through before we get to the end of Season 2, and adding more to that list would be pointless for a review show that only has about 8 episodes a year. What does help me are people that point me to movies that I never knew existed. The Norm of the North review never would have happened if it weren't for one specific comment.
Will you be reviewing any more TV shows?
Reviewing a TV show takes a lot more time and a lot more effort than simply sitting down and reviewing a 2-hour movie. Despite this, the answer is probably. It helps if the show is movie-related or has a movie out at the time, which is why Mystery Science Theater was easy pickings at the time. Right now, my biggest candidate for a TV review is Adventure Time, because the show is wrapping up soon and there are rumors of a movie. But I have yet to decide when I'm going to start moving forward on that. It's going to be either after the show concludes or after the movie is out. But even then, I might just do the movie separately. And even then, before I get into it, I need to plan a lot because there's a lot of plot to go over.
What's worse, blank or blank?
I don't get these questions. Every now and then, someone will come up to me and ask, what's worse, so-and-so or so-and-so? And I'm just gonna come out and say, I'm a really bad judge of character when it comes to deciding what's worse than something else. Like, someone will ask me, what's worse, Birdemic or The Room? I don't like determining what's worse than something else. This is mainly why the Tidbits episode of Hunter Reviews was actually more of a list rather than a top 20. I don't like doing top 10s, 20s, and 100s. I just like reviewing things because they're bad, not because they're worse than other bad movies that are out there.
How can anyone respect the opinion of a reskinned Rainbow Dash?
I think for people to understand the reason behind the reskin Rainbow Dash, we need to go back to our Gary's Mod days, where Hunter was literally a reskin Rainbow Dash. Hunter was conceived in the very early days of Gary's Mod ponies, back when everyone was a female model and a reskin of somebody else. And by the time the male models were finally released, it just wasn't worth changing at that point. Actual vectors didn't start being made until a bit further down the line, and at that point, Hunter Reviews was still just a concept. And since Hunter was a reskinned Rainbow Dash in Gary's Mod, it only made sense to make him a reskinned Rainbow Dash with all the vectors, which also helped streamline the process and the already tedious review process.
How long do these reviews take to put together?
It honestly depends how much I get into the creative process. Stuff like the scene at the end of the Emoji Movie review can take hours of my time. And stuff like this isn't going away on account of Season 2 needing to be more complicated and intricate than the previous season. To date, the most complicated thing that the show has is the solo review opening, which took a full 2 days to put together. And the actual review portion of it, which was longer, by the way, took significantly less time. That part was done in about 1 day thanks to less editing. Bigger and more intricate full-length reviews can take anywhere between a few weeks to several months to complete. And this is between all of my other projects like Matt's Mind, Howard's Mind, the Tumblr, the gaming channel, and our weekly game streams. To try and fill the gaps between content, I created the Hunter Reviews Impression series, which could take anywhere between 1 to 2 hours per video. When it comes to more recent movies, I like to get the review done up to a week after I actually see the film. Some may take a little bit longer, but at least with the shorter reviews, I like to establish a time frame. Most of the big reviews don't actually have a set production schedule, but if there's a deadline for like our holiday review, I usually try to get it done a couple of days in advance. So needless to say, the production timeline for Hunter Reviews episode is all over the map.
Why is Hunter a girl?
The short answer is, he isn't. The long answer is the Hunter model back during the Gary's Mod era was made back when there were only female models. In the end, there really wasn't much of a choice, and by the time the male models were actually released, it wasn't worth changing. But going off of Hunterverse canon, the reason he looks like that is just because he's small. He's very small compared to the regular stallion. Literally, the whole reason behind this is because Hunter is short. It is a common misconception amongst the fan base, though. The only visual clue they have to go off of is his lack of eyelashes.
What's the gun you have in the Emoji Movie review?
The latest gun to enter Hunter's arsenal is a Beretta M9, which is a semi-automatic pistol with a 15-round mag. The vector I have for it is in a constant state of being changed. Eventually I'll be removing the trigger guard so that he can actually fire it and it makes sense. In our future Star Wars movie reviews, this will be replaced with a Princess Luna colorized DL-44 heavy blaster pistol.
Hunter, will you ever go back to reviewing episodes of MLP?
If I'm to be brutally honest with myself, probably not. When first starting out with the weekly episode reviews, it was fun, but after a while it started to feel like there was a constant thing hanging over my head that I had to get done. And one of the main things I like about Headhunter Productions is the creative freedom to be able to do whatever I want. And when I have to do a review 4 days out of every week, it eats up all of my free time to do anything else with the channel. Honestly, if I ever go back to reviewing episodes, it'll be episodes that I specifically want to review, either because they're bad or interesting. Technically, the last episode I reviewed was Dusk's Dawn.
When's the next review?
To put it simply, when it's done. You may have got this from the previous question, but I hate schedules. I care more about the quality of videos than getting a review out like every week or every month or something like that. The only thing, again, that I really buckle down and schedule are the reviews for movies that are currently in theaters. Stuff like Star Wars, the Emoji Movie, or My Little Pony the Movie. And even with those, I like to take my time and make sure I get everything right.
You know it's the French national anthem, right?
Well, there's a mistake I'm never gonna live down. The biggest mistake Headhunter Productions ever made was mistaking the British national anthem with the French national anthem. In my defense, at this point in my career, I hadn't seen Casablanca, and quite frankly, I didn't get the reference either. Which, if anything, reinforces my point that no one is going to get what they're trying to reference. But oh, don't worry, you guys have made it blatantly clear that it is the French national anthem. This, which is now referred to as the British national anthem incident, has been referred to many times in certain callbacks. Literally no rhyme or reason as to why you have to sing to the British national anthem! Except that it's the French national anthem and it's a reference to Casablanca. Now shut the fuck up!
What do you think of Gods of Egypt?
I don't like when people ask me my opinion on a movie, mainly because I don't like typing stuff out. When I review a movie, I like to get my point across, which would involve writing at least a paragraph's worth of opinions. It also doesn't help that I don't like written reviews. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who do written reviews, I just don't like that style of review. I like to take a more hands-on approach to my review and make a video, because when I'm making a video, I'm thinking. And when I'm thinking, I'm not just mindlessly throwing my opinion out there. But to answer your question, I didn't like Gods of Egypt. Any other questions could go down in the comments below. I'll try to answer all of them on this particular video.